Really excited to have everybody here with us. So my name's Catherine Van Tassell. I'm the Director of Behavioral Health Consulting here at GBS. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a physician assistant, board certified in lifestyle medicine, and have spent the majority of my career working in psychiatry. So I love talking about all things mental health, and I really wanted to focus on the topic of connection and connecting to what matters most on the backdrop of the holidays that are coming up, because we know that those can be times of great joy, but also can cause a lot of stress. So hopefully I can give you some tips and some tricks and something to think about and take into the weeks that we have coming up and however you celebrate the holidays. And then at the end, there will be time for questions. I would love to chat with everybody. So please feel free to put those in the chat box. The wonderful Becca Rick, who's the director of the wellness program, will be joining us and helping moderate those for me. So please feel free to stay for discussion if you would like. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, again, like I said, connecting to what matters on the backdrop of the holidays. But really, what causes stress during the holidays that we see? We all know that this is a stressful time. And what would it look like to take a different approach to that and using the tools of mindfulness? And then I'm going to give you an acronym to use so that when you get in a time of where you're like, I got to get out of this, I'm feeling really stressed out, there will be some tips that you can use. And then I love looking at other people. What are other people around the world doing? And is there anything that we can learn from them? It's really fun to learn about other traditions and religions, and just cultural diversity is so fabulous. And I think that we can all learn from each other. So we'll look at that. It's also kind of just fun to see what other people do to celebrate during this time of year. And then also, we can't talk about stress without talking about self-care. Okay, so let's just look at the statistics of what we see during the holidays, and that really, if you might go into the holidays thinking, oh, this kind of feels heavy to me, you're not alone. We see that 69% of Americans feel stressed by the lack of time, so overscheduled, too many things to do. Stressed by the lack of money too, the pressure to give gifts and purchase gifts for everyone, 51% feeling pressure for that. 45% of Americans would just skip the holidays altogether, which I think is pretty remarkable. It's nearly half of America would just say, never mind, let's pack it up and treat this like any other month or two that we see coming up. And then 1 in 4 Americans feeling extremely stressed during the holiday, impacting them to where they might need to get clinical help for that. And this affects women more than it affects men. And what would this look like? What would you be seeing if you were being severely impacted or even moderately impacted by the stress of the holidays? And I would just encourage, if anyone is feeling one or more of these symptoms, to reach out to your provider, reach out to the EAP program or mental health program that you have. Please ask for help and don't feel like you need to suffer alone. But this could be, you have holidays that are coming up that you always look forward to this one party, and you're not feeling joy to attend that, despite, this had been your favorite party to attend. So not enjoying the things that typically bring us happiness, feeling very anxious, irritable, agitated, really quick to yell or be snappy back with people. Disrupted sleep, so difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or early awakening and having ruminating thoughts. So you wake up and you can't fall back to sleep because you're just going through a to-do list or all the things that you have to do or buy or be places you need to be. Overeating or undereating, increased use of substances. We see this, we saw this a lot in the pandemic, that alcohol use went up. We can see this too across the holidays as a way to cope. And then just finding yourself having a hard time concentrating. Mind is racing, or it's just, other places and can't focus on the tasks at hand. Okay, so what could we apply to help with these levels of stress? And I really thought mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness would be a good tool to use. And that's because mindfulness, just the practice of it, involves being present in the moment. So not being always anxious about what's upcoming, or even maybe what we didn't do in the past. And then just noticing it without any judgment. We are truly our worst and harshest critics. And so the practice of just being in the present moment, and whatever thoughts that you're having, just noticing them and not having any judgment. That doesn't mean anything. It's just evidence for you to think, okay, maybe I should do something different, or maybe I'm on the right track. I feel very happy in this moment. I want to enjoy this place that I am right now. But just compassion for ourselves and feeling present in our daily lives. So we'll apply this as we go forward here. So here's the acronym that I was talking about that I want everyone to write down, maybe put it on a little scrap piece of paper somewhere that you will see it, so that when you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, you'll have this to go to. So we're going to divide this up and talk about each one separately, but it's going to be meaning, awareness, and purpose. So meaning. Okay, what do the holidays mean to you personally? You focus on yourself, and then you can go out to your family too, because it might be very different from the members that live with your house or that are in your community. But I would just love everybody to take a few moments to think about what really matters most to me. And, I can give a personal example of this. For me, my favorite part about the holidays is spending time with people that I love, and having some extra time off of work to be able to do that. And so that typically looks like a family trip for us. And I have always loved doing that because we don't buy gifts for one another. We spend it on the trip. And when we're on the trip, we're removed from all the things that usually distract us, and we're together during that time. And I don't ski, sadly, and I live in a state where it snows. So I don't mind if my holiday trips are a beach where it's nice and warm. But for other people, it could be skiing. For other people, taking the extra time that they may have off of work, or taking some time for self-care and be snuggled inside when it's snowing outside, and have a book. But really, what is the meaning of it? Is that having more time for yourself? Is that time with other people? And how do you want to spend the time? There's a very big difference on how others expect you to spend the time, right? This is your time for yourself. And what does that mean to you? And then what do you feel like causes you stress? So for me, it would be in a shopping mall full of people shopping. I don't want to be in that crowd of people that are frazzled and trying to get the last whatever hot item is. I want to have nothing to do with that situation. Other people love it, and that is perfectly fine. Black Friday may be the one thing that you live for, but just knowing, okay, these are the things that I want to really enjoy, and I'm going to make a priority. And then be realistic. We know that we can't be in 10 places at once. And so I think if you step back before this starts, you can say, okay, what's important to me? What do I want to do? How about my family? And then what can we realistically do? And then, always connection. Humans are social creatures. We do so well when we're with other people, and having positive connections with others is so important for our mental health. So I wanted to give you this meditation to use that may help in times of stress, and it's called the loving kindness meditation. And it says, may I be well, may I be healthy, and may I be at peace. And I just love that. I think that we should say that one more time. May I be well, may I be healthy, and may I be at peace. And again, this is coming back to the mindfulness principles and practice of just being in the moment without any judgment, and being very loving and accepting of ourselves. Okay, so continuing on with awareness. Holiday budget. Let's set a budget beforehand. This is where, again, we're seeing, 69% of Americans are completely stressed out by the thought of what they have to buy and how much that's going to cost. And I think that we're all very acutely aware of that in the current financial setting of inflation that we have right now. And that can cause a lot of stress for a lot of people. There are online tools that you can use. I did a quick search and there's plenty of templates that you could print out. But I think it's important to sit down with the members of the family that are going to be making decisions on purchases, and being realistic in that budget and feeling comfortable, not the max amount, but what could I comfortably spend? And including everything, because there's so many things that are going to come up, from a white elephant gift that you have to give at a party to parties you might be giving, food that you need to bring. All of that adds up, especially when we've seen the cost of food climb and just everyday goods. Make that list and check it twice. And then, like I said, you can find some holiday budgets online, and just set it and forget it. That's it. And then you won't have to worry about it. And then again, in planning in advance, that being realistic. Okay, so what can we really do? Get out a family calendar. Whose work parties are what day? What children have recitals, their parties. I mean, it's everything from work to family to friends to neighborhood to religious organizations. There's a lot going on. And again, it's fantastic to be able to celebrate it, but just not at the cost of our mental health. So if you can plan in advance, get everybody's events, and then back to that, what brings everyone happiness and purpose, picking the things that are most important, because we can't do it all. And delegate tasks if you need to. You can't do everything for everyone. And then again, if it doesn't bring you joy, then don't go. You can say no. And then again, in awareness, I think that this is really important to point out, is that there's a lot of heaviness around the holidays for some people, and that's because of family dynamics or loss. Sadly, people might feel very alone during the holidays because they've experienced a loss of a loved one, or they've gone through a divorce, or they might not have close relationships. And if this is you or somebody that you know, having compassion around this time, and finding alternative ways to celebrate or support one another or yourself with good self-care. So again, coming back to mindfulness practice of non-judgment and being kind and loving to ourselves. And we also see too, during the times of the holidays, that family dynamics can sometimes be strained. So you might go to dinner with the uncle that always says the inappropriate things and makes everybody nervous. Just, taking that with a grain of salt and being able to say, I'm going to go into this with, again, my purpose, right? Because I really want to see these people, or I really want to connect with them. I know that there might be some uncomfortable situations and I may try and avoid that in a certain way. And then, just putting differing views on hold and just celebrating what's important. And then this idea of purpose too. There's so many ways that we can give gifts that just aren't monetary, and I think bring a lot of happiness, especially service to others, and also bring us a lot of joy in terms of like back to our purpose, what makes us happy, which is typically spending time with loved ones, doing things that we like. So there's the gift of time. I think back for all of the Christmases I had as a kid, and I don't remember any of the presents I got, except for the exception of Teddy Ruxpin. I always wanted a Teddy Ruxpin, and I got one. I think that's the only Christmas gift I remember. But what I do remember more than that are the times that I went snowmobiling with my family, or we made cookies, or stayed up really late watching lots and lots of Christmas movies. Those are the things that I remember and meant the most to me. And I would venture to bet that most people would say the same thing, and kids too. And then again, this gift of service to others. Again, this time can be one of great celebration, but also a lot of loss and heaviness. So being able to give to a local charity or perform acts of kindness, this doesn't have to be a big organized event. You can shovel your neighbor's driveway, or maybe if you know somebody that has lost a spouse or is alone during that time, inviting them over. We know that people that spend time in service are happier individuals. And then experiences. What fun traditions could you come up with, or traditions that you already have? You know, make those ugly sweaters for the parties, or go view the lights. Try ice skating if you've never gone ice skating, gingerbread house contest. There's so many things that we can do that is outside just giving gifts. And then always remember, you can't say yes until you can say no. So setting boundaries on the things that you really want to do and are going to bring you happiness. Okay. So purpose, holiday events, we kind of talked about this, but list what's important to you and your family. What are those musts and misses? And again, it's okay to miss some things. And, you know, just a reminder that holiday dinners, elf on a shelf, school, work functions, neighborhood parties, it all adds up. We can't be a million places at a time. So that's okay. It's okay to say no. And then maintaining healthy habits. So we see a lot of this during the holidays, is that there's lots of treats, there's a lot of celebration, and typically those foods tend to be foods that aren't the healthiest for us. And I most certainly am not saying you shouldn't have any of your favorite holiday treats, but just being mindful of that, and also being mindful of continuing healthy habits. So we see over the holidays or in the winter months, November, December, we see that people tend to gain weight, and that we are getting worse health outcomes. And that would just be the reason why I would say, remember to take care of yourself. Because if you're not feeling good, and if your physical health is suffering, then that's going to take a toll on both mental and physical health. So just remember, if you were exercising before, try and really be protective of that time, despite schedules getting more busy. So this goes back to planning in advance. Make sure that you're carving out time to be able to participate in things that are good for your body as well. And again, please still eat those treats that you love, but be more mindful of it. Maybe make healthier alternatives. If you're going to an event and you know that there's going to be foods that may not settle well with you, or aren't going to be on the healthiest side, bring a dish to share with other people. Maybe have a snack before you go, so you're not starving before you get to the event. Just remembering, take care of yourself is very important. And ideas for self-care, yoga, meditation, breathing practices. Stay home. It might be better for you to stay home some nights than to go out. Get a massage, schedule a group massage with people, your girlfriends or your sisters, or whatever that looks like. Snuggling with a loved one or a pet drops oxytocin, the love hormone, into our body. So we get this nice relaxation, feeling of warmth. Take a bath or a nap, read. So many things that you can do to take care of yourself. And then for I had talked about on the previous slide, breath work. For people that don't practice meditation or have a formal meditation practice, you don't have to do that to get the benefits of it. And I wanted to show this one. It's 4, 7, 8. So you inhale for 4, you hold for 7, and you exhale for 8. And what's so powerful about doing this very simplistic breathing exercise is that you go from the fight or flight system, so the very like overdrive stress response, to your rest and digest system. And you can do that within minutes of doing a breathwork exercise like this. So at work, in the car, at home, anywhere where you're feeling your heart rate go up, maybe your shoulders are raising up, you're feeling more tension in your muscles, take this practice and just do 2, 3, or 4 cycles. If you could do it for a couple of minutes, it's as powerful as some of the medications we have in terms of anti-anxiety medications to do breath work like this. And it's easy and it's free and you can do it anywhere. And if you can't remember 4, 7, or 8, you can do square breathing. So square breathing is done by the Navy SEALs in times of stress to be able, they need to be hyper-focused on what they're doing. And when we're stressed, our frontal lobe goes offline and we don't make the best decisions. So that's just all counts of 4. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold for 4. Either one has the same benefits. It just depends on what you like more. Sometimes square breathing is easier for people to remember, or 4, 7, 8. Okay, so what are people doing around the world? And I really liked when I was preparing for this talk, learning about some other traditions or how other people celebrate winter solstice. So in Scandinavia, there's Feast of the Jule, and on this on this day they burn a Yule log on the hearth, and that's in honor of their Scandinavian god Thor. Then we also see that girls will dress up in white gowns with red sashes and wreaths, and they'll have candles on their head to honor the saint. And we see a celebration of forgiveness and sharing of food in Poland. I love that thought of getting together in a time of, we're going to let the past go and just be together and share food with one another. And then in Persia and Iran, victory of light over dark and the birth of their sun god, Murtha. And then we see rituals of purification, singing and chanting. Mayans holding a festival honoring the sun god. It is celebrated with fanfare and colorful parades. And then in China, celebrating the end of the harvest and the arrival of winter. And families gather together in feast and celebration. So it seems to be this very common theme around the world: connection, being with one another, and celebrating with food. And then just what are other people doing around the world to be connected? And this is year-round. This isn't specifically just in the holidays, but I think we could pull this in to this time too. So in Denmark, it's this hygge, being snuggled in soft clothes and soft blankets. They very much want to be tucked in and warm, fireplaces, hot chocolate. But again, always being with people, being together, centered in the home with friends and family. However, not too far, their neighbor is Germany, and they're a little bit different. They still want to be together, but they want to be outside, moving around. This German saying I'm trying to incorporate in my life, that there's no bad weather, just inappropriate clothes. They very much feel like we need to be outside and doing things that are active and being very intentional about their socialization with one another. So things that you could do is go to a local park. Again, take up ice skating. Maybe if you want to learn skiing or you already know how to ski, go skiing, bundle up and get outside with loved ones, move your body. Okay, and then this is one of my favorite ones. So in Nigeria, we see that a person is a person through community. So this goes into where I was talking about the gift of giving. They very much feel like everybody builds up the community, and it's on the individual to make sure that they're providing or being there, giving purpose and value to their community. It's all about going together. And I love this. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that that's such a lovely thing. If we go together, or if we're together, then we really do go farther. And then again, very much in service. So participating in service or a community project. And then Hawaii, this is probably my most favorite one. They're very much into mental cleansing and family conferences where relationships are set right through prayer and discussion and confession, repentance. But they really believe that physical illness was caused by guilt and anger. We actually see that in some of our medical journals, that people that have hostility or anger tend to have worse health outcomes. And this poem that they have, I think, is really powerful. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. I think that's worth repeating. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I think this would be a lovely thing to write down. If there's someone that you've been holding some anger or some uncomfortable feelings, might not be comfortable to say this to their face, but writing this down as in a journaling exercise, really being able to release some of that hostility and embracing more positive feelings. So that's the end of the presentation that I have, and I would love to answer any questions. I'll invite Becca to let me know if we have any to share.
Great. Thank you so much, Catherine. That was fabulous. And I'm just feeling excited about like a healthier, mentally successful holiday season. You had some great tips, and it was really fun to see some of the traditions around the world too. We haven't had any questions come through. So if anyone has a question, feel free to drop that in the Q&A or in the chat feature, and we'll get to it. But Catherine, because no one else is asking a question, I'll ask you, what is your favorite way to stay like sane through the holiday season?
Yeah, really it's the advanced planning and picking my favorite things and putting those on the calendar first, and then filling them in, because there are some obligations where I know that I need to not put myself first and put others first, and what those are. And then really choose the things that are important to me, or they're not going to bring me joy, maybe cause me more stress. And then I'm looking so much more forward to that time, because I picked the things that were going to bring a lot of happiness for myself.
I love it. So just prioritizing.
Yeah, prioritizing and service. I think giving is so important. And then I will say this is that a lot of times service is a big part right now, but then in 2 months or 3 months, it's not. So remembering those community organizations in the summer or in the spring, they need us then too.
Mm-hmm. Good points. We do have a question coming through. So, it just says, thank you. This was wonderful. Not a question, a compliment. We'll take those too.
Yeah, I'll take those too. Thank you.
And then someone else says, thanks for reminding us that it's okay to say no. Find myself feeling like I have to do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, that's common, right? We don't want to make anybody sad or upset anyone, but that comes at a cost, right? And that comes either at a cost of ourselves, or that comes at a cost of not spending time with the people that we want to spend time with, or dragging our families around to all these other events when it might be more fun to stay home and make cookies and watch a Christmas movie, or do something, that celebrates the holiday the way you like to celebrate them.
And we're getting some questions on just getting, okay. We are asking about getting a recording. So we are recording this, and it'll be available soon. So I'm not sure if I know the person who asked this question. If you have your HR, or if you're in HR and you have a wellness consultant that you work with, then you can reach out to those individuals and we can make sure that you get that recording to share, but it will be shared out. And then we have another question. In this culture where we have most anything we want, some of us actually live this. How do we get something for someone who has everything? And does it make sense to try to live up what we gave the previous year? So question on like how to manage gift giving. I think those are great questions.
Yeah, I think that those are fabulous questions. And I would probably go back to what can we give that's not necessarily an object? So would that be time together? Doing an event that both of you guys liked to do. And that doesn't have to necessarily be in November or December or January. I mean, that could be in February. I don't know what these two people specifically like, but would that be going on a golf trip with one another? So doing something like that. Or, doing charity work together. I think being really creative, especially if it's for somebody who has everything and doesn't likely need anything, I would always say that experiences together or the gift of giving to those that aren't as fortunate would be the best things to do.
I love that idea too of giving to others. Like I have a friend who is in this situation and always gives on behalf of her parents. Mm-hmm. Like donates to some kind of cause or something. And that's a creative idea too.
Yeah. And I mean, donations to whatever charitable organization in somebody's name, I think that that's a pretty powerful gift.
Okay. I think we have covered all the questions. So like we said, this will be recorded and shared out. So if you have trouble accessing it, just ask your HR or your wellness consultant, and we can make sure that we get that distributed. Any final words of wisdom, Catherine?
Thanks so much for being here and just enjoy. And again, be compassionate and loving towards yourself.
Thanks.